Hey everyone, it's Matt. This is Fantasy Football Almost Daily. Today, Trevor and I are about to preview just about every angle of the Super Bowl. Before we get to that, let me tell you about Fanball's 3 big contests for the big game. All of them are 5x5 contests, same player pool across the board. They're called the Superb Owl. We've got a $20 Superb Owl with a $1,000 top prize. It's about 25% full right now. A $5 version of that game with a $400 first prize. That one's at about a third full. And finally, there's the $1 Superb Owl, 100 to first. That one's already close to half full. You can enter any of them multiple times, but it's time to reserve your spots right now. And also a personal plug here. I sell the world's greatest prop bet game for the big Sunday football game. And this thing has everything that you would want in a prop bet game. 33 multiple choice questions from the anthem to Gatorade, football props, commercial props, halftime props. There's tons of imitators out there, but a bunch of them don't use actual odds and they have no vibe to them. This one is fun for everyone out there, whether you're a football snob or just there for the food and commercials. Link to order the game is in the show notes, but you can also go to Explosive Output on Twitter and you'll find it as my pinned post. And just for my podcast listeners here, 20% discount if you use the promo code ALMOST at checkout. We'll knock it down to $12. Hurry. You're going to want to order and print off all your copies before the super big game on Sunday. Now it's time for Tate's sweet intro music.
From the Sports Hub Games Network, this is Fantasy Football Almost Daily with your host, Matt Harrison.
What's up, Trevor Jones? How you doing today?
Matt, I'm good. We made it to Super Bowl week. It's been 21 weeks of football season, and we're finally at the very tail end.
Yeah, it's everything that we all thought it was going to be at the beginning of the season. The Patriots and the Seahawks. I believe the Patriots were 80-1 to win the Super Bowl, and the Seahawks were 60-1. So whoever wins this one is the second lowest favorite to ever win the big game.
Who's number one?
I believe the Los Angeles, or not the St. Louis Rams back in the day.
Oh, sure.
Greatest show on turf. I believe they were 150-1 to win the big game back in the day. So that's my finger in the wind from stuff that I have heard over all of the media that I've been absorbing during Super Bowl week. But today we're going to get to everything in the Super Bowl. We're going to dive into some of our favorite player props. We'll talk a little bit about my prop bet game that I talked about at the beginning of the show, and some of our favorite Fanball 5x5 plays of the week. And it's kind of an interesting slate. I know that I've built a few internal lineups in the Fanball 5x5. I bet you have too. I'm interested to see where you're going to go. But first, let's preview this game for reals, and we'll do it Fantasy Football Almost Daily style. Trevor, we've split this up. I have the Pats. You have the Seahawks. Let's start on your side where Seattle is still sitting as 4.5-point favorites last I saw. How do you want to start your Seattle side here?
Yeah, we'll just start with the pass game and get on to Ken Walker eventually. Okay. Sam Darnold, we'll start with the Browns. New England's defense has been excellent in the postseason. They limited Herbert, Stroud, and Jarrett Stidham to just 2 touchdowns to go with 5 picks.
Can't believe they limited Stiddy in a snowstorm.
That's true. That was what an effort. Certainly, Darnold is playing much better than, honestly, any of those quarterbacks, including Herbert. I will note, those 3 quarterbacks all scored 11 or fewer fantasy points. Pats were a top 5 toughest matchup for opposing quarterbacks this year on fantasy points. They haven't given up 200 passing yards in a game since week 10. However, Darnold, JSN, Walker, and Seattle actually has excellent field position a lot this year. So I think that's kind of enough to keep Sam Darnold in play. Obviously, everyone's in play on a single game slate, certainly.
Yeah.
JSN, he gets an easy gold. He's 1A or 1B with Puka, best wideout in the game. Highest target share in the league right now, too, at over 36%. We know, actually, the Pats' top 2 corners are very good, specifically Christian Gonzalez. I kind of think JSN's matchup proof at this point, and he also moves all across the formation slot. He gets backfield work occasionally, so it's not like he'll be shadowed by an elite corner every single play. Cooper Kupp, I'll give him a bronze. Obviously, we've got the Super Bowl 56 MVP narrative. He at 8 for 92 and 2, but that was a lifetime ago for Mr. Cup. If you think he can repeat, you can get him for 66-1 to win Super Bowl MVP. So just in case you're,
I don't think
crazy.
we're going to get him to repeat that.
I don't think so, but it's available. So Cup's useful, but he's not really explosive anymore. He had just 3 touchdowns all year, just 2 games over 12 PPR points all season. It's really tough to see a ceiling case. And like I said, New England's which been kind of dominating opposing passing attacks. Rashid Shaheed, I'll keep him alive with the commercial bronze. In his 11 Seattle games, he's posted 0 or 1 catch 8 times. The angle here is the long play, right? It's the long catch, it's the 1 for 51, or he'll get a couple carries probably. So maybe he busts a long carry, or obviously the return touchdown he had against San Francisco in the divisional round.
More on Rashid Shaheed later in the show.
Okay.
Too. Yeah.
I like it. And especially the 5x5, Shaheed and Seahawks D is an interesting little double dip.
Oh, there you go.
That's kind of the only spot I'd play him, though. I think Shaheed's more just kind of a low-owned contrarian bet, like more of a GPP style kind of play.
Mm-hmm.
AJ Barner, he gets a bronze. The former Michigan Wolverine has just 4 catches on 6 targets in his last 3. He still gets the tush-push opportunities, and he played a ton of snaps last week, all but 3 snaps in the NFC title game. So clearly, they're going to lean on him a little harder than usual. The matchup is fine. He's touch on our bust, right? That's kind of AJ Barner's whole deal. On the ground here, Ken Walker gets a gold. You could throw him a platinum if you want. He's been excellent since Zach Charbonnet got hurt in the first half against San Fran in the divisional round. 22 and 23 touches in the last 2 playoff games. He's caught all 7 of his targets, scored 4 different times. Patriots do have a top third of the league run defense, but the workload is so good for Ken Walker right now. I'm not really worried. And then George Holani, the backup running back, he's the clear backup to Ken Walker at this point. He's a decent pass catcher. He's caught 3 of his 4 targets in the NFC title game last week. I think it's kind of an interesting long shot play or like a prop bet option. If you want to take Holani like over 20 yards or something, in case Ken Walker gets hurt, or maybe, the Seahawks are up a ton. They don't need to put Ken Walker on the field. So I think that's kind of an interesting spot for George Holani there. But
you seem pretty bullish on these Seahawks here.
Yeah, and I'd say New England was bottom 10 in running back receptions, so a little bit of juice for the running backs.
Okay. Well, on the Patriots side, I'm going to start with the running game. Ramondre Stevenson ran for the most yards in conference championship week. Did so rather quietly, though. He had 71 rushing yards on 25 attempts. And it's worth noting that Travion Henderson only had 3 carries for 5 yards in a game where the Pats could basically do nothing but run after midway through the third quarter. It was too snowy to pass. It was 25-3 in rushing attempts. That's notable. So I think it's completely Stevenson's backfield. Seattle's run defense has been good all year, but last game, the Rams backs combined for 19 carries and 94 yards. That's almost 5 yards per attempt. And we know that Seattle has had issues with defending running backs in the passing game all year. In the regular season, the Hawks allowed the most receptions to opposing runners and the 6th most receiving yards. Now, Ramondre averaged a little over 3 receptions per game in the final month and change of the season, and Henderson was kind of phased out of the passing attack when Ramondre came back from injury. So I'm going to give a gold grade to Ramondre here. I think if the Patriots are going to get there, they have to establish the run. They have to get Ramondre going in the pass game as well and attack Seattle's few weak spots. And I think that Stevenson is the best way to attack Seattle in this game on the New England side. Drake May, I'm much more nervous about. He's been dealing with both an illness and a shoulder injury that has him limited basically the last week and change. Now, I'm not nervous about him like actually suiting up and playing. He's going to do that. But I don't know if I like a second-year quarterback playing in obviously the biggest game of his career without being fully healthy, getting full reps in practice, and he's going against maybe the best defense in the league. Now, May's played in bad weather basically the whole playoffs, and he's played against good defenses too, and he's beat both Houston and Denver. So his numbers were definitely down because of weather and because of really good defenses. Stafford did figure out a way to throw for 374 and 3 last game against Seattle, but he and Baker Mayfield were the only ones to top 260 yards against them this year. Bright side, I guess, safety Nick Emanwari came up with an ankle injury on Wednesday in practice, and he's a big part of that secondary. He'll probably go, but that's a slight positive for Drake May. Still, Seattle only allowed 20 passing scores during the regular season and had 18 picks. So I've just got a bronze on Drake May, especially since it feels like the Pats might trail in the second half and May just might be forced into throwing a lot. I mean, I can get to a bronze, but it's not a feel-good bronze right there. The wide receivers are very tricky. Stephon Diggs will run most of his routes out of the slot, and Eamon Wari plays there about half the time, and Reek Woolen gets the other half of the slot duties for the Seahawks. And I believe they'll have Kayshon Boutte on the outside. I think they're going to try to scheme him to Josh Job's side if they can, but Seattle will ultimately decide whether Josh Jobe or Devin Witherspoon are on him. Jobe was the most targeted Seattle corner on the year. He was the lowest rated according to Pro Football Focus. He was something like 96th or 97th rated, which is terrible. But he had the lowest passer rating among Seattle corners in coverage. So I don't really know how the Pro Football Focus ranking worked there, because Jobe like actually got it done by the numbers where it mattered. Mac Hollins probably gets thrown to the Devin Witherspoon Wolves as much as he can. He was the second best cover corner in the league, according to Pro Football Focus. That being said, Boutte and Diggs are the only guys you can really target to play, as they both get around 5 to 6 targets per game. Hollins, Demario Douglas, Kyle Williams, Efton Chisholm, they're like 0 to 1, maybe 2 targets per game kind of guys. Diggs gets a bronze because he sticks to the slot, and I think that he'll avoid Witherspoon altogether. Boutte, I think I'm leaving on the bench. I think Seattle probably schemes to take him out of the game with Witherspoon. I mean, that kind of leaves Hollins as like a really, really deep dart throw kind of a thing. I know Drake May really likes him and their boys, but man, I don't know if I could feel comfortable starting Mac Hollins in a game right now. And then Hunter Henry's the last guy to mention here. If he scores a touchdown, you'll get to double-digit PPR points. If he does not score a touchdown, you probably won't. So if you're planning on playing him in any lineup, this is solely a Hunter Henry anytime touchdown bet. And I looked at DK's sportsbook. He's plus 235 to do that, which means if they played this game 3 times, he's going to score once. So that's not good enough for me. I think I'd leave him on the bench. If you really are feeling confident in Hunter Henry and you're going to look to start him in some Fanball lineups, go make a wager on an anytime Hunter Henry touchdown too, and maybe double up on it. So that's where we sit. I've kind of wavered back and forth on where I was this week. I think Seahawks win, but I think the Patriots will cover. I think it'll be a 3-point game.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I put a large bet on Seattle minus 4.5 last Monday, thinking I bet that gets higher before game time. The line has not moved. Yeah. And I think 70% of public money or something is on the Seahawks. So I'm getting a little nervous. But I do think I think the only spots that the Patriots have an advantage, like a clear advantage, are the quarterback and maybe their interior or the defensive line. And their special teams is really good, but so is Seattle's. Seattle's just so good everywhere else. It's like Garrett Bradbury starting. Will Campbell is getting pushed off the ball in every playoff game. It's tough for me to see the Patriots coming through here.
Yeah. It might just be kind of like one of those backdoor covers. I think it's going to be a pretty low scoring game.
Yes. And, the over-under came down 1.5 points. So, yeah, we are moving that direction.
Where's the over-under at right now?
It was 46.5. I believe it's 45 live.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'd stick with the under on that one.
I think so, too.
I don't think both teams get out of the 20s.
Yeah, probably not.
It feels like a 20-17 game or a 21-20 game or something like that. Yeah.
I agree.
All right. Let's talk about how we're going to do this in the 5x5 on Fanball. There's basically 3 $5 guys, and then there's 2 backup quarterbacks in there. It's JSN, Darnold, and May. Let's just talk about them in the tiers here, Trevor.
Sure.
How would you play these guys? Would you really just kind of go JSN? Do you have a Darnold lineup, a May lineup, or you're going to kind of sprinkle in a little bit of each?
Yeah, I found myself not being able to get off of JSN and Ken Walker.
Okay.
But obviously, you end up fading Ramondre and Diggs and all the other good players. It's funny, actually, my lineup is just all of the guys on the far left column. It's just JSN, Walker, Travion, Hunter Henry, Pop Douglas.
Just right down the row, huh?
And Henderson, I know at 3 is it's tough because, like you said, he might play 5 snaps.
Yeah.
But there's also I bet no one else is going to play him. And if he's got the explosive ability to break, a 50-yard touchdown. So
So
It's
if
kind
you're
of a
ranking,
GPP
if you're
element.
ranking the $5 guys, you got JSN first, and then Darnold in May.
I'd probably put JSN, May, Darnold.
Okay.
Just May's rushing upside, I think.
All right. The $4 guys are Stephon Diggs, Ramondre Stevenson, Ken Walker, Jason Myers, who's the Seattle kicker, and the Seahawks D. And I found myself kind of gravitating to trying to start two guys in the $5 and $4, or sorry, three guys in the $5 and $4 tier, and then getting dirty with some $1 dart throws.
Yeah. It's interesting at $4. I think Ramondre and Ken Walker are like easily the best plays. Seahawks D is really interesting, I think, though.
Yeah.
I think there's a chance that this Seattle defense kind of like destroys the Patriots a little bit. So, you compare that with Shaheed at $2.
I think that's definitely in play. $3 guys I didn't like very much. It's Travion, Cooper Kupp, Pats kicker Andy Borregales, Kayshon Boutte, and the Pats D. Out of those, I think Kupp and maybe the Pats D are probably the ones I'd go for. But I can't find myself taking, like, I haven't taken a $3 guy in any of the lineups I've tried to build.
Yeah, that's true. I would say mostly mine have been like 5s and 4s, and then I'll punt it off with a couple 1s.
Yeah. $2 guys, both of the starting tight ends, Hunter Henry and AJ Barner, Rashid Shaheed, who you mentioned that you like to pair with the Seahawks D, because you could get both the return touchdown for Shaheed and the Seahawks D getting the return touchdown as well. Then there's George Holani and Mac Hollins. Hollins is like the guy I would go for if he was a $1 player, but at $2, I think I'm not finding him in lineups.
Like you said, it seems like he's going to see a ton of Devin Witherspoon. It's like, well, we have one of the best corners in the league against, no offense to Mac Hollins, but kind of a more regular type player. It's tough.
I think a regular player is kind of nice.
Yeah, he's been in the league for a long time, man. Props to him.
And then finally, the dollar dart throws. These are where it gets kind of interesting. Demario Douglas, Eric Saubert, Efton Chisholm, Jake Bobo, and Austin Hooper. And I keep finding myself when I have to put in two of these guys with Demario Douglas and Jake Bobo.
Yeah, I think Chisholm and Saubert are probably don't bother playing those guys. And then, I've got Douglas as my $1 player, but I think Hooper or Bobo are more than fine options too.
Yeah, I mean, Bobo caught a touchdown pass in the last game, and maybe they just kind of use him down toward the stripe. And if you cash in with one catch for a touchdown, that's all the 7 points you need.
You probably just won your contest.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's talk a little bit about what you would do during the Super Bowl game at your Super Bowl party. I mean, some people play squares. I hate squares personally.
Yep.
Because it's just luck. And you need 100 people to fill out the thing. Not necessarily 100 people, but 100 squares filled in. Yeah. And if you have a Super Bowl party and you got 12 people there, you're asking people to basically take like 8 to 10 squares, and that's not that cool. That's not fun. So I'm out on squares. Some people like to play like pass the hat, and there's some other games that are a little more interactive and that kind of thing. I believe that I developed the best of the Super Bowl day games. My prop bet game's been going for 16 years. Last year, the NFL made me not put the name of the game in the title anymore, so I must be doing something right.
I was gonna say they're scared, clearly.
Yeah. So now it's the big Sunday football prop bet game. We had over 1,000 people playing it last year. I know that there's a lot of people who are going to play it again this year. If you follow me on Twitter at Explosive Output, I live tweet all of my group's answers. So if you're worried about like, oh, who's going to pay attention to get the answers, I got your back on that one. So don't worry about that. And Trevor, you had to do it for me one year too.
I did. I picked up a handful of Twitter followers for scoring the game live. Yep.
That was pretty big. So, and I told you about most of it at the beginning of the show. You can find the link in the show notes. Promo code ALMOST. I'll give you 20% off. But Trevor, let's go through some of the questions. And what were the questions that you kind of gravitated towards and liked the most?
Yeah, from the first section, we have what will be the result of the first offensive play of the game. question 5 here.
Yeah.
So I went offensive team gets a first down, which gives you 35 points. I think it's
Okay.
the best combination of value and probability of hitting it, in my opinion. I also like turnover at 100 points. And like you said, it also depends on how many people you're playing the game with. If there's like 50 people at your Super Bowl party that are playing the game, I'm more apt to go for a big swing, like the turnover at 100 points. But if you have like 10 to 15 people, I think I'd probably play it a little safer with the offensive team gets a first down.
Yeah, and well, I think that's important, but I do have like a list of the first play of every Super Bowl game. 6 out of the last 7 have been run plays for no first down.
So it is.
It's
there's
almost,
a reason you're getting 35 points because it's not going to happen.
it's almost a lock to get it. We had that one weird one where the first play in the Denver Peyton Manning ended up getting covered for a safety.
Mm-hmm.
That was amazing. That was Super Bowl. I think that was Super Bowl 50.
I believe so.
But yeah, that one was pretty wild, and I mean, an awesome win to get on that kind of thing. But I think that one's almost automatic. Teams like to settle down as soon as the Super Bowl start. It seems like run play is just probably the way to go.
Yeah, let's see here. Next one, I got question 16 from the next section. Will any of these people appear on stage and sing with Bad Bunny during the halftime show?
Yeah,
maybe multiple correct answers, which is good to know as well.
Yeah, you could have 3 of them.
So I chose Shakira at 35 points.
There we go.
So in 2020, the 2020 Super Bowl, Shakira and
the
J-Lo.
options were Jennifer Lopez, Ricky Martin, and Shakira.
Or none of the above, maybe.
Or none of the above, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, when Shakira and J-Lo did the 2020 Super Bowl halftime show, they brought out Bad Bunny as a guest.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of with all the rhetoric in our country, I assume Bad Bunny's gonna have a Latin surprise guest or two to join him on the stage. Shakira gets you the most points, and I also think is the most likely. I think Shakira is like kind of the number one Latin pop star maybe ever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I actually feel pretty good about this one, which maybe I shouldn't.
So these odds were based on like real life sportsbook props that I did find. So Jennifer Lopez and Ricky Martin were actually like minus money to appear on stage. So I don't know if people know something that might happen.
Yeah.
Shakira was plus money, but I thought as you do that she might be there. It might be worth it just to get the extra points because J-Lo and Ricky Martin are 15 points for the answers. Shakira's 35, so you're more than double. So if all 3 show up, you're still winning in that scenario by 20 points.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
Yep. Yeah. What's your next one?
Yeah, I got question 21.
Here, I'll read it for you. I'll read it for you. After the first turnover of the game, which of the following service commercials will be seen first? TurboTax or State Farm is 15 points. Ramp or Rippling is 20 points. Squarespace or Spectrum, 25 points. No turnovers the entire game or the game ends, 25 points. Where'd you go?
So I'll start this off by saying I play Matt's prop bet game usually every year, and I get the commercials wrong every single time. So I'll say what I got to say and then just pick a different one. So I went with Squarespace or Spectrum for 25 points. Again, it's the highest point total available. And I know Squarespace loves a Super Bowl ad. I feel like I can picture, I don't know, Jeff Goldblum or somebody reading their ad stuff. So yeah, I have no idea. That's just my random pick.
I do research on all the commercials before this. All of these commercials are confirmed. So they all will be a part of the Super Bowl. I think my favorite of the questions on the commercials was after the second score of the game, which of these random commercials will be seen first? My favorite answer that made me laugh out loud when I typed it was Jesus or Liquid Death at 20 points. I like the combination of Jesus and Liquid Death together.
A little bit of opposites, yeah.
Yeah, Hyundai or GMC, 15 points. Raisin Bran or Kinder Bueno at 25, and Starbucks or Taco Bell at 25. Jesus or Liquid Death? I'm going for Jesus and Liquid Death for sure.
I mean, it's the funniest. Even if you don't get it, it's still the funniest answer.
Yeah. All right. You got anything from the late section? Because there's 4 sections in this. There's a section on Anthem coin toss, early game stuff. We got the national anthem. By the way, I've seen a couple of these other sports prop bet sheets out there, and they're like over under 90 seconds. Nobody has this anthem at anything but like 119 or 120. So 90 seconds is a fool's bet right there. It's over on that. But under hits more often than not on the anthem. I like the under 120 seconds, or Charlie Puth goes instrumental with it. But so we got anthem, we got halftime show stuff. There's 6 questions on the halftime show. There's 6 questions on commercials, and then there's full game and end game items, which I gave names to, like Malcolm Butler's ghost. Will Seattle attempt to pass on any play snapped from the New England 1-yard line? Yes or no? 45 for the yes, 10 for the no.
I had that originally as my last question, and then I started looking at what Seattle's done on the 1-yard line this year, and it is like never throw the ball. So, all right, I'm done on that one. Yeah.
Okay.
The one I did actually end up with was question 32, if you want to.
Oh, sure. What's the margin of victory for the winning team? 1 to 6 points is 15, 7 to 12 is 20, 13 to 18 is 40, and 19 or more is 60.
So I did go 13 to 18 for 40 points. Like I said, I do kind of like Seattle, at least to cover. So
in a blowout,
hopefully more. Yeah, a little bit. And like I said, I think Seattle's a much better team.
I wonder if Seattle just gets rolling, like that 19 or more points at 60 points. It's staring me right in the face. And the final question is, who will win the game? And you get 58 points if you select New England and they win the game, or 29 points for Seattle. If you're going to be on Seattle, which I think a lot of people will be, I tried to entice the other end by putting a lot of points on New England.
You did. You enticed me. I was like, I thought about taking the Pats.
But if you're going to take Seattle, I think how you differentiate in this game is you take either 13 to 18 points or 19 or more points to make yourself the differentiator. If you just go with chalk and you say Seattle 1 to 6 points, I mean, you might get it right, but what's the fun and
what's the upside?
Yeah, there might be upside in getting something else here.
It's stacking, right? Well, if Darnold throws to JSN, they both score. So
that's right.
Seattle wins, and then they win by a lot. Yeah, double dip.
Yeah, so the Matt's prop bet game available for purchase. It's on Etsy, actually, is where I'm selling it, and you can go ahead. You can find it in the show notes, or go find me at Explosive Output on Twitter, and it'll be pinned in my profile. And finally, before we go, Trevor, we decided we don't normally do player props, but I like to do a few player props here and there. It's a fun thing to do, especially in the playoffs where everything's so magnified on these players. And we each picked 3 of our favorite player props that we found online. Why don't you start with one of yours?
Yeah, we didn't talk about this, but the jersey over your left shoulder there, Jerry Rice.
Whoa.
25 to 1 that someone breaks Jerry Rice's 215-yard Super Bowl record.
Whoa.
This is a JSN bet, obviously. Highest target share percentage in the league. Seattle has a very narrow passing tree right now. Shaheed gets literally like 1 to 2 targets per game. Kupp underneath. AJ Barner, Ken Walker, Halani aren't voluminous in the passing game. You definitely need the Pats to probably put up like 24 to 27 points for this to be live, but I don't think it's insane. Like, this is a guy that can absolutely get 15 to 16 targets, and he's got explosive ability. What
were the odds on that?
25 to 1.
Wow.
215 yards. So I think JSN's highest yardage this year was like 160. So, but the other thing is Seattle's never pushed. So in case New England can push Seattle a little bit, I think there's like an actual chance he could get there.
So could you parlay the breaking Jerry Rice's record with JSN MVP? Because
probably.
If one's happening, the other's probably happening, and you're probably getting like 50 or 60 to 1 at that point.
Yeah, because I think JSN's plus 475 Super Bowl MVP. So
yeah,
that would be a big one. What's your first one, Matt?
I have Ramondre Stevenson over 14.5 rushing attempts. And I also kind of liked the Stevenson. I saw 50.5 rushing yards and over 20.5 rush attempts plus targets. Although if you bet them individually, it was 14 rushing attempts and 3.5 targets. So that gets to 18. So if you bet them individually, you're kind of better off than going with the 20.5 rush attempts plus targets. So I'll stick to the 14.5 rushing attempts. The Rams ran 19 times against Seattle, and they kept it pretty close. Stevenson's workload has been through the roof, as we kind of mentioned in the playoffs. As the playoffs have worn on, he had 13 touches against the Chargers. That one was kind of a blowout, and they almost didn't really need Stevenson all that much in the second half of that game. 20 touches against a really, really tough Houston Texans defense. That's one that it's impossible to run against. They gave him 20 touches. Then he plays Denver's defense, also really tough to run against. He gets 25 carries against Denver's run defense. They saved him down the stretch to play these games against these kind of teams, and they believe in Ramondre Stevenson right now. It feels like 14.5 rushing attempts is a good number. I'm a little scared betting it, but I think that if the Patriots want any chance of staying in this game, they got to get him close to like 18 to 20 rushing attempts, or they're not even going to be in it anymore.
I agree. And I think the general public might not be as aware of how little Trayvon Henderson actually plays. They just see like borderline first round pick and think, hey, that guy's, a star. So I think that's kind of driving a little bit of that narrative as well.
Yeah. What's your second one?
Second one, this one's not super fun. How many players will attempt a pass over under 2.5? I'm taking the under at minus 200. I know that's not a fun bet to lay, but it's a good bet. So Cooper Kupp has one pass attempt all year. That's the only non-Seattle quarterback to throw a pass. No non-quarterback attempted pass for the Patriots this season. People do think of the Patriots as a team that's done this before, right? Julian Edelman has an attempt in both the 2014 and 2016 Super Bowls. However, Edelman was a college quarterback. The Pats don't currently have anyone on the roster like that. Like I said, I know it's not fun to lay minus 200, but if you want like a little bit of a free bet, I think that's a good one.
Both of these quarterbacks have a little bit of an injury thing, and it
I know.
Quarterback thing.
No, I just wonder if it's gonna be like, Josh Drake's out for a play. All right, Josh Dobbs, get in here, hand the ball off. All right, Drake, get back out here.
The Pastronaut is going to take it down. Watch it. My second one's also a quarterback related one, and maybe it's not that fun either. Drake May, anytime interception in the game. Shoulder injury, best secondary in the league. If they're behind, they're going to ask him to throw a lot. He threw a pick against the Chargers and the Texans in the playoff run. Didn't throw very much against Denver at all because it was so crappy in the second half. Do I think that Drake May has a shot of winning the Super Bowl? Yes, I do. Do I think he's going to be perfect in this game? I definitely do not. And Seattle had the 5th most interceptions in the league this year. They have 19, including playoff games. So I just think 19 interceptions in 19 games, that's an average of 1. So I think that Drake May probably throws at least 1 pick in this game.
I do like that one. I also like Darnold anytime interception, which I believe is like a minus 110 or something.
One of my favorite things on the parlays is putting anytime interception in for a quarterback and just rooting for him to throw a pick the entire time. It's always like one of my favorite. I don't know why. You only need one. You're not rooting for you're rooting for just 1 pick. Like,
one play. Yep.
Yeah. Could come at the end of the game when they're desperate, all sorts of stuff like that.
100%. I like that one.
Final prop bet.
Yeah, my next one, I got 2 more if people want.
Oh,
my favorite is which will be higher, longest made field goal or longest play from scrimmage? I took longest play from scrimmage at plus 150.
Where did you find that?
These are all on Bet Online, by the way, which is a pretty ubiquitous. Their lines are pretty readily available in most places. So let's assume 53 yards for the longest field goal, right? That's a pretty long field goal for a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Longest all time was 57. Number of players who could top 53 yards on 1 play in this game: JSN, Rashid Shaheed, Ramondre, Steph Diggs, Travion, maybe even Mac Hollins. Just the Drake throws it 50 yards and go jump up for it.
Kayshawn Booty is in there too. Yeah.
Yep. Even Pop Douglas occasionally can get explosive. Mm-hmm. So anyways, those guys, specifically JSN, Shaheed, Diggs, Ramondre, Travion, and Hollins, combined for 11 plays over 53 yards this year. Now, where it gets interesting is if the longest field goal is only 40 to 45, then you're really live, because JSN has 8 more of those, between 40 and 52 or whatever kind of plays. So it's a weird one, but yeah, plus money, and I think it's pretty interesting.
I like that one. My final one is Rashid Shaheed over 4.5 rushing yards in this one. He's had a rushing attempt in 8 of his 11 games as a member of the Seahawks. In 5 of those games, he's had at least 5 rushing yards. Then that's all you need. So 5 out of 8 times that he's had a carry, he's hit that number. In 3 of those games, he had over 20 rushing yards because he's broken a big one. Since Charbonnet went down, Shaheed has had 3 rushing attempts in those 1.5 games. So he's averaging basically a rushing attempt per half right now. They have to have a few reverses in the playbook for him. They're going to hand him the ball at least once in this game. All he needs to do is get 5 yards.
He's like locked in for a carry. Like he gets carries like all the time, or in most games. Yeah.
I don't think George Halani is somebody that anybody's nervous about taking a lot of rushing attempts. So when he's on the field, it's normally a pass blocking situation. And that means Shaheed's probably out there as well in a 3 wide receiver set. And I think that it's a pass or a Shaheed sweep on one of those ones where they're spelling Ken Walker, Holani's on the field. They're going to give Shaheed one of them.
I agree. I think if like Charbonnet was still healthy, I wouldn't be as excited, but because Shaheed is just a more talented player than anyone else they have behind Ken Walker to run the ball. Yeah. So I like that one. I got 2 more here that are super quick. Will Patriots left tackle Will Campbell allow a sack? Yes, minus 140. I took yes, minus 140. Pat's quarterbacks took 48 sacks this year, a bottom 10 mark. Seattle had 47 sacks on defense, good for 7th in the league. Mike McDonald with 2 weeks and like 6 above average pass rushers against Will Campbell and Garrett Bradbury and some of these guys. Plus, Drake wants to hold the ball, right? He's fumbling all the time. So I kind of like that one. And then Ken Walker over 33.5 rushing yards in the first half at minus 125. He had 50 in the first half in week 18 against the Niners, 34 in the first half in the divisional round against San Fran. And that includes Zach Charbonnet stealing 20 in the first half before his injury, and then 37 last week in the NFC title game. So a little bit of juice at minus 125, but he's hitting it pretty consistently. And it's going to be the Ken Walker show. Like, whether they win or lose, he's getting 20 touches.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little nervous that since some of the Patriots interior linemen have kind of returned, that they've been a lot better against the run, and that might stop Walker a little bit. It's a more difficult front than he's faced in the 2 playoff games so far.
Yes, and I don't know if you know the Seahawks right guard Anthony Bradford.
No.
For anyone listening,
I know him personally. No.
No. So if you've never heard of him, he's the starting right guard for the Seahawks. Do yourself a favor, go to YouTube or Twitter, whatever your favorite social media app is. Search his highlights from this year, and just pop some popcorn in it. 10 minutes of just shenanigans, just tripping people, falling over himself, fake blocks. It's wild that like somebody like this is on a Super Bowl team. But
you'll have to send me a link to that for sure.
It's great. Yeah.
I think that we've covered everything Super Bowl here. So. A reminder that there's still time left to grab a spot in any of the Fanball contests this weekend. $20, $5, and $1 Superb Owls. They're still taking reservations, but spots are going quickly. By the way, if you don't have the Fanball mobile app, the newer Fanball mobile app, which houses Fanball winners and it houses our one and done golf game, you might want to download it, because I believe that the Super Bowl Superb Owl 5x5s will be up in the Fanball app very, very shortly. Like maybe within hours.
But I saw the new update. It's very slick.
Very pretty. Very pretty. So you could track it on your phone with an actual good app. We built a bad app before. I'm sorry.
Looking up for last time.
All right. Thanks to Trevor at TJones5 on Twitter. I'm at Explosive Output. And if you want to come get my prop bet game, come visit me over there on the Twitter machine, or at Explosive Output on Blue Sky. I've got it linked there as well. Trevor, thanks a lot. Good luck with all of your Super Bowl wagers this week.
You as well. Hopefully the game goes off great.
Yeah. Prop and we're probably going to come back with, we're probably going to take a little bit of a break on Fantasy Football Almost Daily. I know Scott Fish and I have been talking about doing a couple of future shows on the Dynasty side, focusing on some Dynasty aspects and safe leagues. So if you're interested in that, keep subscribed to the the program here, and we'll make sure to give you a few nuggets during the NFL offseason. I know I got a few friends in the NFL draft business that I'm hoping to get on the show with me. So excited to preview a few of those things on FFAD. So stick around. But thanks for watching today, and good luck at your superb owl party. We'll see you then.
This was Fantasy Football Almost Daily. Please subscribe and give us a 5-star rating wherever you listen to podcasts.